Hi everyone, I am super excited today to have Valerie and Rob, co-founders of Danse Bloom, join us today. This is a super special episode because between the three of us, we've really connected on four really fundamental things about ourselves: community, dance, technology, and business. And so we're going to cover some of those topics today and learn a little bit more about what Valerie and Rob are working on. So to start, one of the questions I have is that we all bonded over dance. And so my first question really is, how did you know that dance was something important in your life?
You want me to start?
Yes.
Well, for me, it's definitely at an early age, I was invited to join a breakdance crew. And that just opened things up because school wasn't that great. It was a very lonely route. It was very isolating, not so much support. But then you're suddenly asked to be part of a breakdance crew, train together. Like, I saw these guys all the time. We would travel around Europe too, to battle or just holidays. It changes things up. Like for me, that suddenly I started to reflect with dance because that's what connected us. And we were all very different from different ways of thinking, and we were just able to share together as a crew. So that was definitely like a aha moment. I was like, wow, dance brings me a sense of belonging.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because we both started dancing at such a young age, and you too, right? Like,
Yeah, 3 years old.
right, yeah. And yeah, for me, I still remember being like 6 years old and going to see the first dance performance of my cousin. And I remember just the lights, and I was so excited to go as a family and like to have kind of that moment. And the next year, my mom registered me to dance class. And it's interesting to just see how, I feel it was right at the start, and it never left my life, but it changed. It changed over time. And I just reflect back as, being a young girl and going to dance for me was really a safe space because in my home it was not always easy. And so it was a place to dream, it was a place to escape at the same time, but it always stayed part of my identity growing up, and it just kept evolving. And I think for you too, right? It just kept like changing over time.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I totally connect with that. I would lose myself in dance classes, in ballet lessons. All the worries, all the stresses of life would just disappear, and you're just completely in that moment. And so it's this ability to disconnect in a way from everything and just be completely in the moment that was so special for me. Yeah. How did it evolve for you guys? I mean, it started off just being something that was this sense of belonging, the sense of inspiration and joy. How has it evolved for you guys over time?
Yeah, so for me, it was really in the studio setting. First, at age of 15, I started teaching, like assisting, and then I started teaching in my, school where I'm from. And then I left at 17 to go study dance full time. And so I did an intensive program for 3 years. Then it kind of, it left my life a little bit because I went to university and completely different topic. And then it just came back, and then, then I started teaching more. I went to study in New York, as well as in Quebec, and just dance education. And now it's through Danse Bloom, actually. And even with Danse Bloom, it's funny because I'm having dance every single day in my life. I'm not physically dancing, but I'm always, talking with artists, and now it's a completely different field that I'm discovering,
And so I love it because you started as a student, teacher, and then now a dance entrepreneur / community builder. So it kind of comes full circle, and it does really evolve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to speak a lot about technology today, but it's because of that as well, because you have access to so much information that I feel like, I go back with, when we were like teenagers, we didn't have access to that, and just what's happening in the world with dance. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah. How did that involve for you?
Well, I had to dance. It seems like my mom was working at a dance school as her second job, and then my sister was dancing even more than me. So I started in the setting of a dance school. But then when breakdance became part of it, I kind of didn't go to classes anymore. I wasn't really the right person to learn like choreographies. I really evolved more towards freestyling and competition and so on. But then on the side, I also was just doing a lot of other stuff, like making video games. I was part of a different community. And at a point, I realized it was just impossible for me to make any career in dance. It was just not there yet. And now it's a lot different, but still has its challenges. So I went a different route. Like I had two different passions, and I ended up choosing for more video game industry, and that I had done for a long time. But then I realized there were so many things I learned from dance that I now apply in tech. And now it's tech that we can help the dance community.
Yeah.
And it's just, they were balancing each other out. They were very complementary. They introduced so many new conversations.
And now you dance at like conferences, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's the best way to connect with people, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So let's drill into the technology of dance then. So like, how did you see technology and dance coming together? How did those worlds start to converge for both of you?
Well, I'm biased because I saw a lot of, like, I was passionate about the tech part. I would say the first that I saw was with all the challenges that I've seen that dance was dealing with. I saw actually a lot of these problems being solved within tech. So I started looking at the solutions, how they could affect dance, but also how dance affected technology. Just think about motion capture, but you prefer to have someone that has a lot of moved body control because it just gives better data, better material to use in so many different products. And then the other way too, like I forgot my thoughts, but
Okay.
Rob, can you drill in, like, what kind of tech do you are you an expert in, and what is the tech that you're fascinated and like to evolve and play with? Like, what's the stack that is your tool set?
I would say at its core, it's real-time 3D. So very comparable to technology of video games, but now it's very transferable to many other industries, especially these years has been exploding. Healthcare, performance art, architecture, e-commerce, you name it. I really believe that everything is going to be real-time 3D. And that's also how I now see dance, because right now with so many different devices, so many different types of visualization and how we perceive, how we interact with dance and how we consume dance is going to change considerably. It's already happening.
Yeah, it's already there.
Yeah. So that is definitely my side. And it's nice to use knowledge from a video game point of view, but apply it to something like dance. It's kind of like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just can use the things that work and see how they make an impact. So, yeah.
That's cool. And for you, Valerie, how did technology and dance come together for you?
But the thing is that technology and dance already coexist in such a long time though, like, because if you go see a performance, like, technology is everywhere in the room. And I think it's something we tend to forget.
Yeah.
Like, because we spoke a lot in the past how people can be, is it the word reluctant? I think, towards the use of technology in dance, but it's already there. So, okay.
Right, like the tech rehearsals, like, when you do a performance, it's
The
like
lighting,
the lighting, the tech, the music. I mean, that takes a lot of time to set up. And, even doing tech rehearsals takes a lot of time before the performance. So you're totally right.
Yeah.
Tech has always been in dance.
Yeah, and I think there's something very positive with just COVID, what happened, for the future of dance, where we were already going towards. Now it's just accelerating it, it accelerated it. Yeah, okay, that's a hard word. Because theater just closed down. So then what happened? A lot of dancers started using just the medium of video, which was already there. So starting to do a lot of short dance film. That's something we saw, just popping out. And then there's still a lack of, like, how can you monetize that? And that's something we're trying to solve as well on our side. But I think for me, honestly, the way I really see dance and technology is just sky is the limit. Like, and the positive thing in terms of, like, artists is that you have to be creative. And with technology, you have people that wants to innovate. And you just put that together. And, like, it's funny, we were talking about this not a long time ago, but I said something I would love to see, because I miss going on stage, is to be able to be in the room and just to feel what the dancer is feeling, just being nervous, waiting for I don't know if it's creepy, but I would like to.
But the backstage, like what
Yeah.
happens, like moments before you step onto stage, right?
Be able to
Yeah.
experience that. I'm sure we're gonna have something
sure.
like that in the future.
Yeah.
You know, connected to the heart of the artist or something.
Yes.
I don't know. I think like there is just so much opportunity,
Yeah.
and it's just about what can you imagine, then just make it happen.
And if I can, like, I now realize where my thoughts were going, but I think the best way to formalize is 3 buckets of technology and how it impacts dance. First is how do we create? I think it was today you told me, I'm thinking totally different about iteration now. So technology, could you iterate faster on what you're already doing? Then there is how to distribute it. Like, were you only sticking to a theater, or would you like to distribute to whole Canada or the world? And for what platform? Like, are you choosing a platform that only just maybe 100 people have, or millions or billions? And then there is also the monetization part. Like, okay, you are much better at creating it, you're much better at distributing it, but how can you make a living out of this? How can you make a sustainable living out of this?
And just we know with artists, there's we start to see artists that are older and older on stage. We are accepting that now, and it's a positive thing. But the thing with technology is that you can also just record the body, and the body is going to grow old, but there's still piece of that. Like, you see an art piece, it's there forever, right? But the body on stage is not there forever. It's happening during a certain amount of time, and you have to be there. You're not there, you missed it. So I think that's the positive side as well of just technology and dance.
I just love hearing you guys talk about this, because it's just deep love for dancers, a deep love for helping the community grow, evolve, stay together. Let's drill into community a little bit more. Was Danse Bloom created to solve a community problem? Like, what kind of challenges did you see in the dance community that Danse Bloom is going to solve? And was that the impetus for starting Danse Bloom?
Yeah, it's funny because we started Danse Bloom about 3 years ago now, and I remember we were saying, we are a youth dance community. That's how we started, and people were like, but what is community? And today we talk so much about, the need for that more than ever. So it really started from what sparked the idea was, my background as a dance teacher. I felt we were just missing connection and sharing between each other, because it's a very competitive field, because there's not that many people that can be presented on stage. That's how it is, and a lot of people are dancing. And so I noticed just a lack of connection and a lack of true desire to help each other. It's like you really had to know everyone, but how do you meet those people? That's what we were asking, and even more for younger people. And we decided to shift by using technology and creating an application, a mobile application, with as a goal to connect the communities around the world. So it's a big goal, but we're doing it. But the in-person still need to happen, I think, but how do you create those connections? That's what was missing, actually. How me, if I am a young dancer or aspiring dancer, can I connect with professional artists? How can I connect with presenter? How can I connect with producer? And also, how can I monetize my work in an independent way? That I don't have to wait for opportunity, because we always say you have to create your opportunities. Okay, great, but how do I start? And like, information is missing. And and
it's interesting because the sort of traditional models of dance is that you prepare and choreograph and practice a piece for months, and then you perform it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and then it's over. And so what I'm hearing from you is that in many ways you're building dance as a product, or the performance as a forever product, right? That lives on, not just now but into the future. And so that's a fascinating part of that.
And to go back to community, like, because we were reflecting on this, and I'm from such a small town, and you too, actually. We're both like from Quebec. Rob is from Belgium, but we both grew up in a small town, and that's, I think, for me, that's the core of what community is. It's to say hello, it's to acknowledge each other, and I feel in big cities like Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, you're missing that, right? And so I think it's important to create community, and we're both entrepreneurs, and in the spring this year, actually, we did the incubator of Zoo in Montreal, and oh my God, that was amazing to meet community of entrepreneur. We all need community because you need people, you know, that can also just understand your struggle and your, you know, the problem that you're having and can just help, generally just wanted to help. So,
Well, definitely the word that comes to mind from community is collaboration. Like when I started making my own video games when I was 13 years old, I just found a website online of a forum and I connected with people worldwide. They give me feedback, we started doing projects together, and that's where I learned that they made me first off aware of what was possible and I would actually push the limits. And once I had that awareness, I created an understanding how everything comes together. Why do you design a certain way? Well, you get that as an outcome. And I feel like that's kind of like where my head was with Community for Dance. Like we moved a lot and we connected always with people through dance. But just imagine if dancers do want to get more involved with tech, the best way is to collaborate. But how are you aware of what's possible? How are you aware of people that they can collaborate with? So we're really simplifying that. And it's kind of like saying there is so much value, but if you're not aware of it, how does it impact? So there is a lot of things already in the world, like dance has always been there. So we want to simplify the awareness of it. Once we have done that, there is actually, you can create an understanding by saying, I actually want to jump on that opportunity, or I actually want to utilize that space, or I would love to collaborate to make this kind of content. And if you have that, you have a really safe space. And that's the other thing about the community, is having a safe space to try out, because your experience is your only truth. You cannot just copy a solution. You need to make your own experience out of it, make your own variation of it. And I believe we're on the right track to develop that. So
that's exciting. So what are you guys most excited about? What's next for Danse Bloom? What are you most excited about next for your company? And
yeah, so we're moving in 2 weeks at the time we are recording this, right? So we're moving back to the East Coast, to Montreal. Actually, a big part of it is for Danse Bloom, just because, you know, the government of Quebec do invest quite a lot in like innovation, young entrepreneur as well, and so we found out like a great community for us for that. It's sad, but you know, it's a next chapter. So.
And your community is still here, so you've just expanded that. You will connect the West Coast and the East Coast together.
Exactly.
I am absolutely sure of that.
I think it's important, like, because I feel we're a lot connected. For example, you know, the Vancouver dancing is a lot connected to LA, as like, you know, Montreal are connected with Toronto and New York, but just bridging, and like there's other cities across Canada that are very important as well. But yeah, I think what we're the most excited is that we are developing the app in-house with Mr. Rob. And so that's going to be a big thing for sure, to just be able to launch it very soon. And then,
you know, like we're focusing on a lot of data, because awareness for me maps with data. If you can measure it, it exists. So it's going to be very interesting to learn from this and share this with everyone else, because we're really just providing them with a tool to navigate everything that's going on. And, you know, our app is one thing, but magnifying the impact of it, that's, I'm very excited about being able to share that with everyone and to guide the dancer or the dance fan or dance organization to kind of strengthen their industry. So really seeing that happen, that's something that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So there's like a feedback loop that goes back. As you participate, there's a feedback loop. And well, thank you so much for making time to share with us your passions. And it's so exciting to see you bring together all these elements in a very simple but impactful way. And I'm excited to check out Danse Bloom and your new application. So to end this interview, I'm gonna, let's, you know, since we're dancers, let's like stand up. Like we'll just do movement with our arms. I'm gonna pass you a dance move or a movement, and then you're gonna pass it to Rob, and we'll pass it back. Okay? Just to end this segment. All right.
Ooh. I didn't even noise. You have to make noise too. Or is it coming back?
All right. So thank you so much.
Vivian.
And congratulations again on your company. And I'm excited to see what's next.
Let's do.
Thank you for all your support. We
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
All right.